Hey friends, I'm Brian. You're watching Jacoby Plays, and today we're going to take a quick flip through of Tome of Beasts 3 and Tome of Beasts 3 Lairs from Kobold Press. So, let's roll. Alright, today we're going to take a look at the Tome of Beasts 3 and the Tome of Beasts 3 Lairs from Kobold Press. I had originally recorded this last night, but when I imported the video, the audio was unusable. So I won't be using it. Tome of Beasts 3 and Tome of Beasts 3 Lairs by Kobold Press. I'm going to flip the camera around for a top-down view, and we'll do a page through. Alright, here we go. Tome of Beasts 3 by Kobold Press for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. On the cover here we have this large sort of undead or maybe demonic kind of creature in the background, flanked by some skeletons or maybe zombies rising from the ground in the forefront. It's a bit of a kind of reminiscent of a sort of a Halloween-themed image here. On the back cover, we have the text, a flock of over 400 ferocious monsters for 5th edition. Let's open this up and see what we've got. Page count comes in at 422 pages. And let's go over to the table of contents here. See how we have this divided up. So we start out with a couple of sections about using the book and sort of an article or a foreword titled Embracing Wonderment, or Embrace Wonderment rather. So we start out, everything is divided up by alphabetical order for all of the monsters that are in this book. And then we have a couple of appendices. So Appendix 1 is NPCs, which we'll take a look at in just a bit. Creatures by challenge rating, creatures by type, and creatures by terrain. And I find it very helpful having a list of creatures by terrain, especially when I'm trying to mix things up for random encounters and things like that during any of my campaigns, even if it's a pre-written module or adventure path or whatever it is that we want to call it. Having a clear depiction of where would these monsters naturally occur is very helpful in my opinion. So using this book, I did take a minute to read through this first couple pages. Basically, using this book just sort of points out that some of these things may come from the system reference document for 5th edition. There might be some things that are related to the Tome of Beasts 1, the Creature Codex, which is another Kobold Press book, or Tome of Beasts 2. So those aren't required for this book, but there may be some additional material that could be helpful in one of those other books. Alignment and creature behavior. So this is, again, reminding game masters that in this book there are going to be alignments assigned to certain monsters, certain creatures, and you don't have to stick with those alignments. You can have the polar opposite just to create a bit of a surprise for your characters, or even looking through this and looking at a monster that might normally be chaotic evil. If I swapped that out for a chaotic good alignment, how would that change the motives or the motivation of that monster? So it's just kind of something that you can think about. We talk about languages here and how languages that are listed here are sometimes related to the Midgard campaign setting, and how, if you're playing in a different campaign setting or a homebrew world, how that might map out in place of the languages that they have listed here, primarily with Umbral being kind of an undercommon or a shadow tongue, or Void Speech, which is a language of outer darkness in the Midgard campaign setting, and you could swap that out for some other similar related language in your campaign. This page is the article "Embrace Wonderment," written by Luke Gygax, and it's about kind of surprising your characters, or your players rather, with twisting some things within your plots, or specifically for this book, twisting some of the details of creatures that characters will be encountering, so that it doesn't just become, oh, here's a room full of goblins, or in this case specifically, I think it was like a room full of trolls or whatever, and then players have tactics that they've already built around what they understand about those specific monsters. So using some of the material in this book, or even just your own imagination, thinking about how do you change that so that your players are not falling into the trap of, oh, I know what this puzzle is, I'm going to solve it quickly, let's move on to the treasure. Shuffling things up a little bit, spicing things up a little bit, changing things so that now your players and their characters have to rethink their tactics because something that might be common knowledge has now shifted. So that's basically what this article is about. So let's get into the monsters. I'm just going to flip through a couple of pages just to kind of talk about what we're seeing in here. So in many of the entries in this book, they talk about how these monsters are related to the Midgard setting, so that if you're playing in Midgard, you could easily understand how those monsters fit in. But if you're playing outside of Midgard, you could fit these monsters in however you see fit. Again, just flipping through here to kind of take a look at a couple of pieces of artwork and stuff like that. I haven't gone through this thoroughly enough to really point out some of my favorites or the highlights, although I just randomly flipped to this samurai crab page, and I sort of love this idea of a crab wielding a couple of katanas. It reminds me of, there's a meme on the social media of a crab that's holding a knife and sort of pretending like it's going to defend itself. So that actually, this pose, this artwork, kind of makes me think of Stranger Things a little bit, although they call that, they call those monsters other things. Flipping through here, artwork is great, as expected. Kobold Press always does a great job getting some really good artists to submit work for the books that they put together. Yeah, so as you can see, lots of fun and interesting creatures in here that you can throw into your campaign and either surprise or delight, or certainly challenge your players and characters. Bilge Goblin, that looks like fun. Plague Harpies. Ice Worm. This makes me think of Alien. The Chest Bursters. Leashed Legion. Mind Shard. This might actually be kind of interesting thing to throw at some of my players. Keep wanting to swap characters and players around here. Oaken Sentinel, so sort of a sentient plant creature. So, yeah. As you would expect, these are basically monstrous entries here. And I'll have to take quite a bit of time to go through here to see what I like which monsters I think are interesting and when I might swap things out in some of my own campaigns when I start running them. I'm currently not running any campaigns right now, but I am gearing up to run through the Crown of the Kobold King, the Pathfinder 2 release that just came out a short time ago. So here we go with the first appendix for NPCs. So basically talking about different NPC classes, really. And then some of the NPC races and their ability modifiers, and then some basic features of each of those races. So that you can, again, spice things up a little bit so that it's not the same set of NPCs that you're encountering all the time with your campaigns. So Field Commander, First Servant, Fixer, Frost Afflicted. So yeah, a fun set of NPCs that you can swap into your existing campaigns, whether it's pre-published or not. Creatures by challenge rating. So this is always helpful, again, because if I have some level 10 characters that are out adventuring, if I throw a challenge rating 2 creature at them, not so interesting. But if I throw a challenge rating 20 creature at them, maybe not so interesting in the opposite way. Creatures by type, so aberrations, beasts, celestials, constructs, etc. And then creatures by terrain, as I mentioned at the start of this flip through, having a clear list of creatures that could be showing up in desert or coastal areas. That's always very helpful to me. So that's always a welcome addition in monstrous compendiums and such. Up next, the Tome of Beasts 3 Lairs. So similar to other Kobold Press Kickstarters, this is a book of adventures that feature monsters from the Tome of Beasts 3 in this case. So let's take a peek inside. We have page count coming in at 154 pages. And let's see what we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 adventures spanning level 1 through level 12. So I'm not going to flip through this, but we have 2 level 1 adventures, 1, 2, 2 level 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 level 3, 1, 2, 3 level 4, 2 level 5, 2 level 6, 2 level 7, 2 level 8, 1 level 9, 1 level 10, 1 11, and 1 12. So a pretty good mix of adventures that you could throw into any existing campaign. One of the fun things about this layout, it actually reminds me quite a bit of old Dungeon Magazine layout, where you would have the title of the adventure, the level of the characters, and then a synopsis of what to expect for each of the adventures that are in here. So I'll just do another thumb through here. Each adventure comes with a nice battle map and some of the artwork from the Tome of Beasts 3. And so you get a pretty good amount of material in here. One of the things that would be nice is to get this in digital format so that you get some of the digital files for these maps so that you can either print them out or use them in your digital tabletop or virtual tabletop, whether that's Roll20 or Foundry, etc. I actually have Roll20, and I should double check because I'm pretty sure I also purchased the Roll20 version of each of these books, which I like to do. I've been using Roll20 for a long time. I know that there are other virtual tabletops out there that other folks like quite a bit, Foundry being one that is at the top of list of frequently suggested virtual tabletops. And I've played around with Foundry a little bit. I've played a couple of games on Foundry. I have never been the game master of any of the adventures that I've participated in on Foundry, but because I've already invested so much time and money into Roll20, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I'm sticking with Roll20 for now. Because that's what works for me and for most of the folks that I play with on a regular basis. Yeah. So, yeah, you can see the battle maps and stuff like that in here are pretty good, good quality. As I've said before, Kobold Press content is outstanding. They put a lot of effort into this. They source a lot of really fantastic artwork. The contents, as far as I've seen from everything that I have purchased from Kobold Press, it's imaginative, it's unique in many ways, and the quality. Like I've never flipped through a Kobold Press book that I have ordered and thought, I don't know, like was this really worth the however many dollars I spent on this? Whereas with Wizards of the Coast, there have certainly been a couple of books that I've purchased, and when I get it, I kind of flip through and I'm like, I'm probably never going to use this because it's just not interesting to me. And obviously, sometimes I go back and read through again, and there are sometimes things that I will find in books that I'm like, oh, you know what? I just missed that initially, but I can see a creative use for this. With Kobold Press, I have never felt that way. I have always felt, from the start that the content is awesome. And similar, most of the Paizo content that I have purchased, and there's been a lot of it, most of the Paizo content that I have purchased over the many years has also been really great. I think Wizards of the Coast, they're kind of slipping sometimes, and it's terribly frustrating because as the sort of the brand holder of Dungeons and Dragons, I expect more from them. And right now, that's being filled in by the folks at Kobold Press and by Paizo. So that pretty much wraps up the flip through. So let's flip back around for some closing thoughts. All right, so there it is. That's the Tome of Beasts 3 and Tome of Beasts 3 Lairs by Kobold Press for Dungeons & Dragons 5e. If you have any question about these products, drop a comment below, and I will either answer as a comment, or I could even record a separate video to answer questions that you have about either of these two books. I will also include a link in the video description below to Kobold Press's website, where you can go pick up or pre-order these two books. Thanks for watching. If you found this video to be useful, hit like and subscribe. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. And until next time, keep rolling.